Hello everyone, welcome to the 6th edition of the Formula E Addicts podcast. I'm your host, Edward Hunter. I'm with Jack Pickering, Joe Jones, and Matt Murphy. And today we're going to be talking about the season opener in Beijing, what to expect in Putrajaya in just under a week's time, and a little bit of other news that's been going on in the world of Formula E. So, for those that don't know you, let's introduce ourselves very quickly. I'm Edward Hunter. I'm the head admin of Formula Addicts, article writer for Eco Cars for Sale, the little electric car dealership website, and I'm really impressed by what I'm seeing at the moment.
So my name is Joe Jones. I have been in the group since kind of midway through last season. Absolutely a massive fan of Formula E, and I write technical stuff mainly for eracing.net, and also got one little article on electric Autosport the other day, which was rather nice. So yeah, that's me. Yeah,
great article. It's called something about Formula E appealing to youth, I think.
Exactly.
And it's told by your perspective as a 19-year-old, I think.
No, at the time, 17-year-old.
17. Sorry, I've got you. Damn it, I was doing so well.
Hi, I'm Matt Murphy. I'm an admin on Formula E Addicts and a massive Formula E fan, regular contributor, and I'm just finding it absolutely amazing as season 2 unfolds. I'm really looking forward to the discussion tonight.
And also with us is Jack Pickering, but Pico isn't feeling too great at the moment. He's got a bit of a headache, but he's going to do his best. He's done a really good job for us so far. Really proud of him. Just on a side note, 2,806 members in the group at the moment, so
Woo!
We just need 200 more, and we're going to reach the 3,000 mark, and then there's going to be a big party.
Tell your friends.
Right. So anyway. Let's move on to the first order of business, which of course is Beijing, recapping what happened and saying what we thought about it. So, guys, let's say in a nutshell, was it a good race, a bad race, or kind of okay race, and why?
I thought it was an okay race, a bit mediocre compared to the action that we saw in season 1. But I'm very happy that Formula E is back, and I cannot wait for Putrajaya. I think, and I will put my hands up now. I am a massive Mahindra fan, and so I did get a little bit emotional when Nick Heidfeld did cross the line to get that.
By a little bit emotional, do you mean crying your eyes out, as you admitted to just before we started recording? No, only joking.
I did shed a few tears, yeah.
Tears of joy, of course.
Yeah.
It wasn't sad.
Yeah, I was just really pleased for the team and everyone. It was unlucky for Bruno, but hopefully he'll have a good race next time out in Putrajaya.
Any thoughts, Matt, on Beijing?
Yeah, I got quite a few thoughts on Beijing. I thought it was a good race in some respects and a bad race in others. First of all, it was better than last season's Beijing race, apart from that final corner. All the teams that participated scored points, which I think was a big plus. It shows that Formula E is still competitive. The main thing, what I really liked, was that the Dragons team's momentum hasn't gone from last season, with Duval finishing 4th, D'Ambrosio finishing 5th.
And D'Ambrosio almost taking out Duval as well towards the end.
Oh,
good save.
Yeah.
That was funny.
I love the Dragon team's little tussles, like, for example, in Battersea Park, where both of them tried to race each other. But the things that I didn't like, for example, was we all want to see last season's champion put up a bit of a performance in the first race of season 1.
Well, yeah, we do.
Very shocking from PK Jr.
Yeah, he had a very troubled race, even though his teammate, finished a very respectable 6th. Got to give Turvey his due for that. And the other thing what disappointed me of the race was, even though he did have a collision with Antonio Felix da Costa, I just felt that Jack Villeneuve's first race was a bit of an anticlimax.
Well, of course it was. He was past his best in 2006.
Ooh, come on, Jack. Let's not get into that right now. You're supposed to have a headache, remember?
I love it how you put supposed in there.
personally, I'd kind of, to an extent, disagree with both of you. I thought it was a really, really good race, actually, especially the way it kind of sets out the season to unfold. And well, first off, in terms of the actual racing itself, all right, up at the front, there wasn't a massive battle for the lead by any stretch of the imagination. However, I think the kind of train that was between kind of 4th place and maybe 10th or something was so close. It really did provide some good racing, especially as you were discussing, kind of with the Dragon guys and all that towards the end of the race. Also some good stuff from Robin Frins, etc. And also, as you were discussing, it shows that it is still competitive and no one's running away with the lead. And also the PK thing, I'd kind of disagree with you, Matt, in that. Though, don't get me wrong, I think PK is a fantastic driver, and I would like to see him and the next CV team do really well. I actually think this, in a way, it sets it up for the season. It sets up a bit of a comeback, if there is a comeback to be had. If he fails for the rest of the season, then not so great. But I think it kind of sets the stage for the amount of a challenge it is for the other teams. So I'm actually really optimistic myself. I thought it was a really good race as well.
Yeah. I think personally, I kind of agree with a little bit of all of you guys, but probably a little bit more erring on Joe's opinion. I think one of the reasons why it was a better race than last year, particularly, was because of the removal of the first chicane. I think that really helped. We talked a little bit about it with Mark Preston last time. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he didn't disagree.
I think they should have removed the second chicane as well.
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of that either. So.
Yeah,
they tightened it up this year as well, so it was a little bit more problematic. Although I don't remember seeing much action happening there throughout the weekend. I didn't see much of practice, obviously, because of the live stream issue, which we'll get to next. But I didn't think that Edams were quite as dominant as everyone was saying they were in the race, at least. And I say that more from the point of view of looking at Nico Prost's race, which was not as clean as Bohemi's. I don't think Prost did a particularly bad job. He was still on the podium when his rear wing failed. We didn't quite see what happened, but the rear support seemed to just fall off, basically, and the wing was very lopsided. And rightly, he got the black and orange flag. It was a black flag with a little orange meatball in the centre, and it was almost definitely the right call to pull him in, although that was a bit of a shame for Nicola, because he was actually started to bring it back together and was having a decent little scrap with Heidfeld, actually, and started to close on Degrassi when it happened. But
it was definitely the right decision.
Yeah. The other person,
the biased Mahindra fan.
Yeah, the other person who I thought had a bit of a unlucky race was Simona Di Silvestro, because she'd done okay. She was running behind Franz in the early part of the race, and then a few laps in, we don't know exactly what happened, but Simona claims she got punted at the back by what presumably was Antonio Felix da Costa, who caused a total of 2 big incidents then. A bit of a shame for Simona, but I think she'll be back at the next race. And on the plus side, one person we haven't mentioned yet is Nathaniel Berton, who made up 15 places on the grid, even with the help of the Villeneuve da Costa virtual safety car, which helped him out as well, along with Turvey and the Dragon cars. But he still, in last year's machinery, he was easily the highest finisher in 8th, and on a day when others lost their head, he kept his. So
I'd like to point out that that before he stopped out on track, the Nelson PK did also benefit from that. He was up into, I think it was just ahead of Berton.
Yeah, he was definitely running about where Berton was, if not ahead of him.
I actually think that the way that PK and, as you said, Berton and some of the others, Turvey, etc., made up so many places with the full course safety car, I think that was actually, I think that was one of the big stories that Jack and Dario actually missed as they were commentating. I thought that was quite a big kind of moment of lucky strategy, if you will, that all those people did the extra lap, then moved up so much. I thought that's something they kind of missed out on myself.
I think they paid a little bit of lip service to it, but they didn't really explain it very well. I think they didn't really quite have as much time.
They didn't really point out Turvey and Berton until about 5 laps after the virtual safety car went in.
They seemed to point out the Dragon cars because they were the ones who were ahead.
Yeah.
And that was what was being shown on TV as well. We barely saw much of Turvey in this race, to be perfectly honest, except for the end. So anyway, let's move on to... In fact, seeing as we're talking about the full course yellow, I said we'll bring that forward a little bit in the schedule and talk about it now. So the full course yellow, what did we think of that? It was because Daniel Abt was very sceptical about it, but personally, I thought it actually produced some good moments of racing.
I think the full course yellow was a tale of two halves in a way. On the one hand, I did really enjoy it in that I thought the way they kind of had the race director coming through not only the driver's radio but so we could hear it. I thought that was very dramatic, especially with the kind of the frost move on Heidfeld, for example.
And it's a level of transparency as well. You don't
exactly.
F1, for example.
I thought that was all done very well. However, two negative sides to it. I think first off, as I mentioned in the group, I think Qualcomm might have a bit of sniff with Formula E because that was quite a big kind of marketing hero for them in season 1, and we didn't see any mention of the Qualcomm medical car or the Qualcomm safety car in the race. And also with the kind of wireless charging technologies, etc., it's quite a big thing for them. So I thought that wasn't very good on their side. Also, the safety car is always a bit dramatic, isn't it? Packing all the drivers up together. So I think maybe with the kind of when there was the recoveries of like Antonio Felix da Costa's car, for example, then maybe they could have actually brought out the full safety car, to be honest.
You were talking about the race director there. They also have the full course yellow in a WEC, which I'm also a big fan of. And I'm not sure whether any of you guys watch WEC or any of you listening watch WEC, but I'm pretty sure that the guy who counted down from 10 sounded like exactly the same person who does it in the WEC. I'm not sure whether that's just me or not, but it genuinely did sound like the same guy.
It's quite possible.
Yeah, well, a lot of the drivers are also driving World Endurance Championship too.
Matt, what was it you wanted to say?
Yeah, Matt, we need to let you get a word in. Go
on. Going back onto the full course yellows, there were some good things and some bad things. For me, I'm with one of Joe's comments, what he just made there, basically saying that I like the bunching up of the field when the safety car comes on. Like in season 1, it just made that excitement and mad rush to the finish. So I kind of missed that with the full course yellows. Also with the full course yellows, it seemed to me, I'm not sure if anybody else got this, but it was like the top 3 cars, even though there was this, speed limit, the top 3 cars were kind of creating a gap on the rest of the field under the full course yellows. And the good thing about the full course yellows, what I really liked was on ITV4's coverage, as Pico mentioned, they had the countdown from 10 to 1, and I thought that was really good, getting back into the race. But I suppose it'll grow on me because last year the bunching up the safety cars and the mad rush to the finish was absolutely great.
We might still get a few safety cars. The incident just needs to be big enough, and I guess race control decided that the Da Costa Villeneuve incident was sort of just on the limit, and sort of they could just get away with the full course yellow. Because remember, it's all kind of new to the championship, so I guess they thought it would be worth trying it out a bit more. When we're talking about rules and changes for this year, let's talk about the Superpole format. I didn't actually see it live, but because it was at 5 o'clock in the morning or something. But apparently, I've seen the highlights of Superpole, and it did look like it was exciting, and it was received very well by fans.
It overran, I think. It overran because they didn't really get it correctly. Because what I was thinking, I was thinking there's 5 drivers, there's 15 minutes. 15 divided by 5 is 3. They're going to send the drivers 3 they're going to send 5th place at 12:45, 4th place at 12:48, 3rd place at 12:51,
etc.
So and so on and so forth. But the thing is, they just waited until they'd completed their laps, and they just overran by about 10 minutes. So
I think you're bang on that actually, because the way it's supposed to work is that at the beginning of the current driver's flying lap, that then the next driver's released, because then they're not gonna they're not gonna touch or anything or get in each other's way. But they didn't. Nick, for example, wasn't it? He was being held back,
Yeah.
or for some reason he was waiting and for the driver to do his cool down lap, and then he was going out, which seemed all a bit silly, really.
And also and also one thing that I didn't understand is also they could have started it a bit early, because now we have the shortened quali sessions. It's a 6-minute quali session, then a 4-minute break with each one. So if they just kept so it starts at 12 o'clock, finishes at 6 minutes past. The next session starts at 10 minutes past, so on and so forth. What they could have done there is they could have had the four sessions, and then instead of having a 9-minute break, they could just have had a 4-minute break instead, and then do a 20-minute quali shootout, which I think would have made it stay within the 1-hour limit, which I think is another solution. But to be honest, me being biased as per usual, I prefer my quali system that I explained in number 1.
Do you prefer this one to the last season's one though, Pico? With the Super Bowl?
It's a bit this that about it. I'm not 100% towards it, but I'm not 100% against it. I'm on the fence.
I think for the fans it's good, but even though drivers have a rather nice life travelling the world, etc., I do feel a bit sorry for them in that it is literally one lap, and what that means is that if there's a problem, anything, that is it, even if it's out of your control. So personally, I'm for it in terms of the fans' point of view. I did think it did work well. However, for the drivers, you've got to have a bit of sympathy.
Yeah, I mean...
Oh, sorry, go on.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement with Joe there. It just seemed to go dead quick, even though it overran. It just seemed to go really fast. Like, I was doing the live tweets for the Formula Addicts Twitter that morning, and it just seemed to fly by. Once Q1 had started, it was Q2, then Q3, Q4, and then the actual Super Bowl shootout itself just went really quickly. I think all the excitement of this new format, it just passed by really quickly.
Worth pointing out that although Buemi's pole time may have seemed quite dominant, Di Grassi in practice 2 actually set a time slightly faster than what Buemi's pole time ended up being. I know different conditions, Buemi had a bit of a scruffy lap as well, but managed to get away with it. But I think that's kind of interesting going forward.
What about Apt? Did Apt go faster or not? Faster than Buemi's pole time? I'm not sure. I'll look it up.
Yeah, afterwards. Let's look it up afterwards. So yeah, the final thing I want to talk about before we move on to the next race is the live streams situation, which is a little bit annoying for us because in the UK we turned it on for practice 1 at sort of midnight or so, and lo and behold, we were region blocked, which was a little annoying to say the least.
Just
completely region blocked on the website.
Just saying, App didn't beat Buemi's pole time.
Sorry, I was just meaning talking about Di Grassi specifically. So
going back to the live streams, I ended up watching Q1 in Italian, and then I think it was just about as Q2 were about to start. One of our
could you still follow it in Italian?
It was quite easy to follow in Italian because it had like the names and the times up in English, but just about it got into Q2. One of our page members, Ross Curtis, I was actually discussing with him at the time, I can't find it in English, and then I managed to get a YouTube stream in English for qualifying. But it was an interesting Q1, very very loud paced and frantic in Italian.
Yeah, the Nicole's Franchitti partnership is a little more subdued by comparison, especially during early parts of qualifying, you sense. But anyway, that's good to hear the resourcefulness of the Formula Addicts page coming to the fore again, even though Formula E haven't been quite so helpful to us. But,
still my favourite commentary lineup. Those two.
Okay.
I think Formula E are gonna have it fine now from now on. I think personally, I think they were actually gonna do it on purpose, but because of the kind of Twitter outroar, including myself, saying this is completely against the whole ethos of the championship being open,
I said the same
etc.
thing as well.
I think that they backtrack straight away, which is a good call from them.
I'd just like to point out something. I'd just like to point out something quickly. Pretty much, I'm not sure whether you guys got this as well, but during ITV4's coverage, did the commentary sort of go away, and then it came up with a little thing saying, "Oh, highlights are on tomorrow," and on the second lap of the race or something.
I did notice that.
Because I was worried for a second. I thought they were going for a break 2 minutes into the race or something. And I was like, "What the hell's going on?" But
I'm sure they'll get.
But in front of me, I do have F1 Broadcasting's report from the Formula E in Beijing. With the live coverage on ITV4, it only got 88k views on ITV4.
Yeah, it was pretty low.
It's the third lowest in the series, behind last year Putrajaya, which was really early in the morning, which it will be again this year, and Moscow. And then the rerun on Sunday got 244k, but that's lower than BT Sport have got for the MotoGP. But
of course, MotoGP have got the title race going on, and also the Moscow and Putrajaya last year clashed with F1 races as well.
Yes.
So it's not completely a true reflection, I think.
He's gone on to point out that the thing is that the ITV Formula it's not really
they
going.
Didn't trailer it very
it's
early.
not really going that well because they did produce a trailer for the season opener, but they showed it probably 3 times. 3, 4.
Yeah, you were watching it. I remember you were saying it first when you saw it like a week before.
And the thing is, if this was Formula One, they would show it almost every single. They would show almost every single ad break, and they show it on ITV and everything. If I just read through this, ITV won't advertise, so the viewing figures will stay low. ITV won't pay Formula E any more money. Formula E want more money. Formula E can't go to pay TV, otherwise viewing figures would be really embarrassing. It would be maybe in the single figures of the thousand who would actually watch it. Say if it was on BT Sport for the entire season, not many people would watch it whatsoever. So the thing is, this is the problem with Formula E. We especially here in the UK, we need to ITV need to advertise it more, put it out there, put more live coverage on their channels, and then more of the British public will tune into the races. But at the moment, that's not going to happen.
I completely agree, and I think actually they did a far better job. Like for example, towards the London E-Prix, they did really good. Pushing it, for example, within the UEFA. Was it the UEFA? It was the Champions League, I think it was. They were pushing it, and actually, I think it was in the rugby coverage. They were showing trailers this time for the highlight show. So that's probably partly why the ratings did get better, as well as it being a more sensible hour. And on ITV1 as well, which was the big change this season, that they're showing highlights on ITV1.
Interesting.
But but the thing is, with ITV, they could easily have had the slot to show qualifying on their main channel, because they just show a night screen from like 3 a.m. through to 6 a.m. They could have showed Formula E coverage from 4:45 through to say 6:10. Otherwise, the kids will be annoyed about
but
not being able to watch their shows.
From Austin at that point.
Sorry?
Yeah, she was.
Jenny Gow would have been flying over from Austin, so who would they have gotten to present? They could have got.
I would have volunteered as tribute.
They could have got Karen Chandog, who was there, of course. But
I think Karun did a fantastic job, actually. In fact, my dad, who was watching it with me, who's not a massive motorsport fan, he's quite interested in technology, a bit like me. But he said he mentioned how Karun did, is a really good communicator, I thought he did a fantastic job, and I think it's really good actually that ITV got him on board.
Matt,
Matt, did you want to say something?
Fantastic guy.
Yeah, all I was going to say is about the trailer for the new season. I only saw it a handful of times, and that was when I was watching the BTCC. I think throughout all.
But to be honest, what a season finale that was. Well, I know this is diving off topic, but that was just brilliant.
Great finale. But throughout the whole coverage on the final day from 10 o'clock till 6 o'clock, I think they only showed the trailer 3 times out of the numerous ad breaks. The advertising needs to be stronger from ITV if they want to get the viewing figures up.
If not, I'm just going to put this out there to you guys, and I know I'm taking control a bit now, but I'm sure Ed can relinquish me in a couple minutes.
This is not what I was expecting from a guy with a headache. Go on.
Yeah, I do actually feel much better. So yeah, you guys have cured it. So yeah, thank you so much. But the thing is, I'm going to put it to you guys now. Would you rather see Formula E showing usually just the races, maybe the qualifying sessions for the European season, on ITV4 and the highlights on ITV, or would you rather see it move to pay TV channel, or would you rather see it to change to a different free-to-air channel to see if we can boost the viewing figures? Which one would you rather pick? Anyone, just go.
Pico, you're in more trouble than you're worth. I know, personally, I would just, I actually think ITV, on the whole, they do an okay job. I can't see how anyone would do it much better. I don't see anyone else with that sort of willingness. Maybe Channel 4, because I remember, I think it was Channel 4 that used to do British Formula 3 coverage, and which was kind of okay.
Yeah.
Your thoughts, guys? Pay TV or Freeview?
Freeview any day myself. Yeah. I think, especially in the infancy. I mean, I'm against things like this being on pay TV because I don't have pay TV. But I also think, especially as the series is in its infancy, it needs to get lots of viewers and lots of young viewers. Both of those means Freeview, I think.
Matt, go.
Yeah, I totally agree with Joe. Free to air in Formula E's infancy is the way to go, just to try and capture the imagination of as many people as possible. Free to air is the way to go. I think it would actually kill the championship if it went onto a pay TV service within the next 2 to 3 years. It needs to remain on free to air.
And the championship's got, in the background, of course, we don't always hear about it because they want to keep the image, as sort of a championship that's, on top of everything. But we know last season there was all sorts of financial troubles until Discovery stepped in and, bought a stake in Formula E. So there's it's a very critical time now to get this thing right. And I think I agree with you guys that at the moment, Freeview is what's needed.
And anyway, Discovery own.
I think we should move on, guys.
Yeah, finally, can we move on? Sorry, yeah. I didn't realise you were going on such a tangent, Pico.
Sorry. I don't know how I've recovered this well. Just
I know, maybe.
Come on, guys. I've got work to do. Come on.
Right. Okay. So Putrajaya is in just under a week, as I said at the opener, which feels like ages ago now. Why do you think Putrajaya is? Because last year we went and everyone was going on about how it was a really good racetrack. And it was really challenging, that tight hairpin and all the bumps at the last corner. Well, what do you think was it about Putrajaya that really made it so successful last year and will probably make it successful again this year?
Well, just saying, Ed, you said that Putrajaya is coming up later in the week. For those listening now, it's in about 2 hours' time, probably. Yeah, I do really like Putrajaya. It produced a fantastic race there last year, and I cannot wait for this year. But I think it will be more or less the same story as Beijing, in my opinion.
I obviously we can't tell how the actual race is going to be, but Putrajaya I think is actually my favourite racetrack on the entire calendar. I think it's got a really good mix of kind of right-handers. But what Punta del Este? Come on, no. Because what this has that Punta del Este, for example, doesn't have is sweeping corners, which is very, very difficult to get on a street track.
And the tightest circuit in the world.
Yes, exactly. But I think so. So first off, I think the track is fantastic, especially the long right-hander at the end and the kind of long left-handed, slight left-handed towards around the concert. That's really good. But also, as I was just mentioning before we started recording, I think the TV coverage, the helicopter, all that. I mean, I think Putrajaya, for them, it's such a good advert for the city. I'd never heard of the place. I'm sure you guys hadn't. And I think it looked absolutely stunning on TV myself, which is great for not only the series, but also for the country.
It's only just south of KL, isn't it?
It's about, I think, 25 kilometres.
Yeah, so it's not that far away from the track that the Formula One go to.
Yeah, it's not. Apparently, I think it was David. Was it David? No, it was Jack Nicholls was saying how it's kind of the place you see as you're driving to the actual Formula One track, but you never really know what it is. You just drive past it. So,
it's the place I see as the future of motor racing in Malaysia.
Really? Okay.
Matt, do you have any views on Putrajaya as a venue?
I thought, to be honest, it was quite average last season. For me, my favourite was Buenos Aires. It just had everything. But going back to your original question, Ed, about why so popular. Again, it's something I can't put my finger on. I think the only reason why it was popular last year was because,
because the opening circuit they had to compare it to was Beijing.
Yeah, and Beijing last year was, apart from the final corner, was such a drab race. I think, finally they got something which was a bit more exciting than Beijing. So therefore, Putrajaya built all the momentum and all the excitement last season.
Even though very few people watch it in the UK, apparently. Internationally, though, different story.
Yeah, definitely. I do think as well, a lot of Brits like it because Sam Baird won, and it was his first Formula E victory. Yeah.
Anyway, we saw an interesting tweet today from the Trulli team, and it seemed to confirm that they will be there in Putrajaya and they will be racing. So that hints to me that all the customs trouble that they had at Beijing for the first race seems to have been resolved. Do you think we're going to see them there? And if so, do you think they're going to be anywhere near anybody else, or do you think they'll just be trying to get some mileage in?
Yes and no. So that's yes, they will be there. No, they won't be competing for anywhere. As much as I appreciate the Trulli team. They finally got that. Engine powertrain. They finally got that powertrain working on the final week of testing. I don't think it's going to be competitive. They only did a handful of laps at Donington, but I think if they can get off the back row, I think that would be a great achievement for them. And when I say the back row, I don't mean like in the race if they finish 15th and 16th. I mean in qualifying. If they get one of their cars 18th or higher, that is an achievement in my eyes.
For me, I don't think it's. I think if they get running and that they can do the full speed laps, which they haven't done yet, if they can do that, if they can keep up with the race, I think that's the achievement. I don't think they really care about scoring points for this first race. Considering their running was so low, I mean, even though they had a few kind of good shakedown laps, they did have like the odd technical glitch in their shakedown laps in Donington on the final day. So I think for me, this race, if they can get by the end of it their car just running fine with no problems, I think that's the thing. And then in Punta they will hopefully actually be competitive.
Yeah, I think truly finishing would be, a massive achievement in the race. Them just being there and would be absolutely great. And I agree with Pico. If they qualify 18th, I think that'd be. There'd be a party in the Trulli garage.
Just saying, if they qualify 18th, if nobody messes up their laps. If people
Yeah.
mess up their laps and Trulli get theirs bang on.
Well, they do a John Eric Verne and just the brakes just don't work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that.
If they finish 18th, or more by true merit, then, I think, they will be celebrating. But I think in Putrajaya they're just going to be there to make up the
I don't
numbers.
think it would really matter for Trulli if they got it on merit or not. I mean, by hook or by crook, if you can get a place, then you'll feel happy about it. That's kind of the nature of motor racing. But,
Yeah. I do think a lot of what the Trulli team are going to do is just going to be used for data analysis and just to see how the cars are feeling. And then next up in Punta del Este, they'll actually give it more of a go.
yeah, and keep in mind they have got the was it the Motomatica powertrain, whereas Team Aguri and Andretti have still got the last year's powertrain. So
However, they are quite. What I think was interesting is when they, what's it called, something Cavuto, the kind of operations manager, and I think he's also like a co-owner or something. He was saying, that Trulli themselves and I think they're called the Italian Tecnomatic Group have invested a lot in this Motomatica project of money. Then that's why they kind of just had to persist with it. They weren't very successful in season 1 with that powertrain. This is kind of their only chance, to be honest. So I think a lot rides on it. But I mean, have you heard of the Italian Tecnomatic Group? I think they just do kind of small car components at the moment. So they are up against the big guys. They really are. But if it could be a success, apparently they've got 4 gears, by the way, in a single motor. If they could be a success, I would be so happy. Because I think at this early stage, if the small teams can get a big thing at the big manufacturers like Scheifler and Renault and DS, I think that's that's where real innovation comes in.
Anyway, we talked a little bit about this, but who do you think is going to win the race? It seems that a lot of you were indicating that you thought Buemi was going to cakewalk it again, but I don't know. Personally, I think De Grassi's going to get things together for at Schaeffler Audi, and I think De Grassi will take victory with Buemi and Prost just behind him.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Really?
you go ahead.
I can't see it past Buemi, but if Buemi were to have a problem, De Grassi would be there to pick up the pieces, and maybe last year's winner Sam Bird as well.
Okay, so
I think he'd be
that's
in the
where I
mix.
disagree massively. I think first thing, I think at Scheifler, yes, they could be on par with Renault. That's fine. For me, as I wrote in this article, you can read it on newracing.net, I think it's called Disappointment for DS. Anyway,
DS appointment.
yeah, that was a good one that I found on
Team Aguri, the golden gem of comedy.
Ed, just say you may have to copyright that, otherwise people are going to steal that.
Oh crap! Yeah.
I think that actually it's a bad indicator. Beijing was a really bad indicator for DS in terms of efficiency, just because both the drivers, even Sam Bird, who was quite efficient in some races, I think he was quite good in Malaysia. I think it was a really bad indication compared to some of the other teams. And what's surprising is actually the complete opposite story was for Next TV, who were actually crap in qualifying and good in the race, and they have the same setup in terms of 2 motors, single gear gearbox. So that was for me the most intriguing technical element of Beijing.
Let's be honest, they were only good in the race because the full course yellow did really help them.
But also great efficiency. Also really good. When you saw the numbers, they were on 24% when other people were kind of on 16. That's
good.
But
the thing is, before the pit stops, I think Turvey made his way up to 15th, and I think PK was down into 17th or something. So race pace wasn't that good, but I do think the full course yellow really helped them out in Beijing.
Yeah, but if we're talking about efficiency in Beijing, just quickly, what does that say for Venturi then? Because the Dragon team seemed to be able to get the extra lap out of the powertrain, whereas Venturi could not.
I think that might be down to 2 things. First off, setup, in that maybe they did slightly less aero, etc. But what's more likely is just that their drivers are better and have been given better kind of energy targets from the team, better strategies. I mean, Loic Duval, even though he was crap at qualifying in his first race in Miami, what you can't fault him on is that he he was able to drive fast and save so much more energy than the rest of them because of his fantastic endurance experience. I think that might be the key actually. And also with the Dragon guys, they may not be EV experts, but they've got proper really good race mechanics, which Venturi are kind of a bit behind in that game. So maybe that's why they could do better in qualifying, etc.
Yeah, for the race, I'm just going to go with an outside punt, same as Pickard. I actually think Sam Bird might win it.
Yeah.
Only because...
Hashtag ITV bias.
They barely mentioned Oliver.
Yeah, you see, with Sam Bird, he makes I know he made some mistakes in Beijing, and he wasn't his usual self, but he seems to get this red mist in some races where nothing's going to stop him, just like Putrajaya last year, just like the final race at Battersea, and I think he's due another good race, and I think he might be
It's only been 2 races since he had a good race.
In Malaysia.
Yeah, but in time-wise, it's been for a few months.
Yeah. I think after that, he's just going to go on another lull like he did last year, and then try and pick it up towards the end. But I do like that Sam Bird, as I call it, Sam Bird red mist, where he just storms through the field and he has an amazing race pace. And I think I've got a sneaking suspicion he's going to do that this weekend.
What about John-Eric Verne there? Because it seems that Bird has a much better barometer, because we've since found out that Al-Ghashari had a few, in Moscow he had the health problem, and then he wasn't really, feeling that he wanted to be in motor racing anymore, and now he's got a teammate who's a bit more, I don't want to say more committed, because I'm sure Al-Ghashari was trying his best, but he's a bit more well-renowned, perhaps would be the more appropriate word. And Chip has a really amazing reputation from his time in Formula One, and obviously still being a Ferrari test driver at the moment. And so, do you think that the fact that Sam Bird did manage to beat John-Eric Verne, do you think that's going to help his confidence then, just briefly before you go into the final part of Putrajaya?
Possibly, yeah. Because well, one thing that we knew about I knew about John-Eric because I read it in an article I think back in August. Is that John-Eric Verne was hoping to miss 2 Formula E races anyway, because they clashed with the Formula One.
And of course, we've since found out that Gutierrez got that seat at Haas F1. So
I think it was the worst kept secret in Formula One, but I don't.
We didn't really have a window once Grosjean.
I do think Verne sort of did deserve that seat a bit more. So, but yeah. That's it.
F1's lost Formula E's game. Right, so finally, we did a little competition to celebrate the fact that me and Nelson Piquet Jr. we've compromised, we've set aside our differences, and now we're best friends. So what Piquet has generously done is he's donated 2 caps. The competition's still open, or at least hopefully it is by the time this gets out to you. And all you need to do is before qualifying, you need to predict where Nelson is going to finish in qualifying and where he's going to finish in the race. So what did you guys pick? I didn't pick because obviously it's my competition. So
I'm just looking it up now.
I think I said qualifying 16th. I said and finish. Was it 12th or 9th?
I said qualifying P12, race P8, and I think the most optimistic out of all of them has to be Nelson's. I think he's Nelson's biggest fan in the group, Susan McKenzie. She put first and first.
It could happen.
Just saying. I wouldn't be that optimistic after their performance in Beijing, but
you've got to take a punt sometimes, PK.
Some people have said start 18th, DNF in the race.
I think one person. Most of them
I think is it could happen, but yeah, it's still a bit harsh. Whereas
I think it depends on how well Campos change the setup. If they can really make up for that,
just borrow Turvey's setup. Sure.
They can do it. because it was. I mean, it looked so difficult to drive in Beijing in the.
Matt, what did you pick for the competition, or did you not enter? I didn't see.
Yeah, I
He
went.
said 15th, 10th.
I did.
So.
Yeah.
I just found it quickly, so
Okay,
yeah,
fair enough.
sorry about that.
Right, okay. So Putrajaya looks really exciting. It's been moved back 2 hours earlier because of the rain. So
but
I think that's been
from the weather forecast. It looks like that it's going to be raining anyways.
Yeah, it could be a very interesting race then. It almost rained last year, in fact, as well.
Yeah.
So anyway, any other business?
Well, I think talking about Putrajaya, I think we should have a look at the fan boost standings for the real life at the moment, and
No, because they're going to change.
Yeah.
Okay, here it is as
Yes.
2nd of November.
Yes, I know. This is 2nd November at 9:15 in the evening, so it probably will have changed by now. But currently, at the moment, Jean-Eric Vergne does lead the fan boost standings by 5% over Nick Heidfeld, then a further 2% over Nelson Piquet Jr., who is 1% ahead of Bruno Senna. And then there's Villeneuve.
Let's not mention the rest. Come on.
And then there's Villeneuve, Prost, Bird, Da Costa, Silvestro, and Turvey rounding out the top 10. And one thing that we as a group are doing this season is that you can vote for your favourite driver in a poll. It's linked at the top of the group. You could just click it, and then you have the list of drivers, and then you can vote for your favourite driver, and the one with the most votes at by qualifying will. We will give a fan boost via the Twitter account and also a fan boost via the website. So you can go do that if you want. Currently, Jean-Eric Vergne, like in the actual fan boost, he's on 12 with Bird in 2nd, and the person who we gave fan boost to last time out, Bruno Senna, he's in 3rd.
Right, thanks Jack for getting through all that, because I wasn't planning to mention it, but okay. I'm going to skip the other business, I'll just quickly brush over it. A few weeks ago I met the protesters near Battersea. I just went over there and to their local community centre where they're holding their meeting. I think it was Friday, about a week and a half ago, as I said, and they were really nice.
Full Mahindra gear as well.
Yeah, as well. Yeah,
which I thought was a bit risky, but still.
No. I
GG.
think I'll just say briefly that I think they really appreciated having someone who knows the sport inside out, because a lot of them, I don't mind the sport, as a concept, but they don't really know very much about it. So that doesn't help them when they're trying to, figure out what's going on. Because they asked me about Formula E in schools, which has pretty much been a scrap the last I heard of it. They were maybe thinking of running it in-house, but they definitely split with the Green Power charity that ran it. So yeah, that's really interesting. I'm going to write an article about it, explaining the protesters' point of view a little bit, and sort of a little bit of my own too. There was also, I saw today that will probably annoy the protesters more than anything, is that the FIA Institute has given a sustainability award to Formula E for the company that runs Formula E, which is Formula E Holdings. They passed a sort of environmental strategy, environmental system audit or something like that, which was basically, I'm not sure, it doesn't say who conducted it, but basically they met the accreditation sort of standards for that award, and they're pretty much the only FIA championship that has actually so far, which I thought was very interesting. Anyway, let's finish things off because we've been rambling on for way too long now. Although
I have been waiting for this moment for the entirety of this podcast.
If I've edited this properly, then it won't seem like we've been rambling on too long. Anyway, So one thing that did happen in Beijing was a small little orange feline ran across the track on lap 13, right in front of Stefan Sarrazin and Sam Bird, who were having a battle. Sarrazin did complete the move, but just avoiding the small creature. So a lot of people were upset when they saw the cat go on. They took to the internet to write in some comments into a found poem, which I would like to perform for you now.
Dramatic silence.
I would berate the race organisers for letting an animal onto the track. The cats will go wherever they please anyway. In all likelihood, it was probably running away from a restaurant. What do we want? Cats on the racetrack. When do we want them? Meow. All is not what it seems. This was no ordinary cat. Clearly it was trained by PK Jr. himself in a blatant attempt to cause a safety car. Thank goodness it did not succeed, though I dread to think the precedent that this sets. What next? Elephant on track? Kangaroo? Chimpanzee? And it's sad. That was the most excited Dario got during the whole race.
Inside there, I think it is actually.
In Singapore, we saw a fan walking in the middle of the track during the F1 race. The two events have a direct connection. This same fan has since been transformed into a cat. Why else would the feline have the exact same mannerisms, the same aimlessness? I know this may sound far-fetched, but I was there, and I do not question the evidence I saw with my own eyes. I know how the cat ended up there. Chantok flung it from the London studio all the way to Beijing.
Oh, there we go.
Brilliant.
Hopefully that was somehow enlightening.
We don't want to annoy PK's manager, of course. I think I was a bit, just all light-hearted. Let's not take it too seriously. Anyone who was worrying.
Okay, I can just edit that bit out. So anyway, that's the podcast already. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. Let's go through our Twitter handles in case anyone wants to follow the group on Twitter. It's at FE Addicts. To follow me on Twitter, it's at Edward J. Hunter. Joe is at Joe Panic, I think, with the K at the end.
Yeah, bang on.
It's Joe Panic. Pico is at Pico Motorsport. And Matt, I don't quite remember what your tag is, Matt, sorry. On Twitter.
I'm at Shambles Smurf, and the Smurf ends in a P and a H.
Yeah. Okay. And don't forget also to join the Formula Addicts Facebook group where you can do tons of cool stuff, keep up all the latest news and involved in our competitions. Anyway, Putrajaya is set to be an even more amazing race than Beijing. I hope you watch it and join us there, watching live. And yeah, thanks very much for listening to the podcast. See you next time. Goodbye.